and welcome to the Black Psychologist Podcast, presented by the Black Psychologist Network, and welcome to the Let's Get Some Perspective edition, where we react and analyze viral vids making their way across the news cycle and social media cycle. We thank you for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Rate us, review us, watching us, give us 5 stars. Anything less than 5 stars is uncivilized. I am one half of your humble and gracious host, Dr. Kyle Osborne. He is I, and I am him. And of course, you all know I'm not here by myself. I'm never here by myself. I'm with the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Jason Coleman. What's going on, good brother?
What's going on, bro? Chilling. It's the middle of the day. We off, so just kind of appreciating my time. Everything's good though.
Yes, sir, man. Yeah, we just making it work. Taking advantage of these holidays, of course. Can't beat that.
Got to. Anytime we can get a break, you got to do that. What's going on your side?
Nothing, man. It's a tough football season, bro, for my Colts, man. It's tough sledding out there. The Manchu magic has been emptied out. So it don't even matter who we play every week. We're just going towards the draft, bro.
I mean, listen, you got to stud at quarterback. It's just one of those things where you just hope he doesn't get the RG3 treatment. You know what I mean?
That's rough.
Yeah, man, they keep running them into the ground. You know what I mean?
Might be a running back. Crazy. But yeah, other than that, man, about to get into these here articles and things that have been making waves on social media. So let's get into it. So Jay, it's been a couple episodes ago, we gave our analysis on the situation with dating, right? We had this with the young lady who refused to go to the Cheesecake Factory, and then there was also the young lady who was at the oyster bar and the dude ran out on her, and so on and so forth. All right, so that has activated these lists that have made their way onto social media. All right,
so the lists are floating around.
They're out, brother. They're out. So
I see it. Listen, that whole Cheesecake Factory stuff, it made it to USA Today. It's right on. It's right here. I'm looking at a article right here.
Yeah, it's definitely making a lot of waves. So,
and at the top of the article it says Russell Wilson, known millionaire, took his wife Ciara to the Waffle House for her birthday this year.
Look at that.
Look at that. Yeah, well, he did rent out the whole thing though, so that's
that's a different level.
Different level.
Yeah, I mean, just a little something, couple dollars.
But it does seem like, this is like a hot topic. Everybody's talking about it. I think there was another like mail list. I think that was.
Yeah, we got that too.
Right.
Yeah.
So the mail list that was released.
So the first list that came out was a list of places where women refused to go to on the first date. And it went a little something like this. Here we go.
Right? These are the 28 places that they said is too cheap for a first date. Number 1, the Cheesecake Factory. Number 2, Applebee's. Number 3, Chili's. Number 4, Chipotle. Number 5, Olive Garden. Number 6, the movies. Number 7, don't you take their ass to your house. They don't want to go there. Number 8, any fast food chain restaurant, they don't want to go. Number 9, Buffalo Wild Wings. Number 10, Wingstop. Number 11, Red Lobster. Number 12, a buffet. Number 13, IHOP. Number 14, Denny's. Number 15, the gym. Number 16, church. These women don't even want God in their head. Number 17, Starbucks. Number 18, a coffee date. Number 19, ice cream date. They don't even want no ice cream no more. What the hell? Number goddamn 19 or whatever number it is. Family functions. Number 20, watching Netflix or Tubi. Number 21, a road trip. They don't even want to ride in a car with your dog and meet them there in 2023. Number goddamn 22 or whatever number it is, Bowling, they don't want to roll a ball or roll a dice with your broke ass. Number 24, a nightclub. Number 25, a hookah bar. Number 26, a bar just for a drink. They don't even want to go out and have a drink for your broke ass, right? Number 27, the Waffle House. Now you know the Waffle House, the spot after the club. They don't even want to go there with your broke ass, man. Number 28, any sports event. If it's basketball, football, they don't want to watch no hockey with your broke ass. They don't want to go watch no goddamn soccer. Nothing, not even golf. Tiger Woods don't even stand a chance in 2023 with date. So basic.
There you go. All right. Now listen, not to be outdone, because this list, when it made the social media airwaves, people were going crazy. It had social media going in a frenzy. But of course, not to be outdone, the men had to strike back, and they developed a list of their own. Here we go, Jack. You ready?
Yeah, man, I'm ready.
You ladies are obsessed with lists. All of a sudden, this is a list of everything us men refuse to pay for if we ain't married. Your bills, your rent, your house, your car, your hair, your nails, your bags, your purses, your jewelry, your designer, your vacations, your furniture in your crib, your plastic surgery, your bottles at the club, your Zah, your pills, your car repairs, your food for another man's kids, gas, Ubers, Lyfts, DoorDash, Starbucks, and your dinner.
All right. So that was a list that the men developed of a list of things that men refuse to pay for if you're not married, or if they're not married to you. Okay. All right. Jay, you know what this reminds me of?
What?
This reminds me of way back in the day, right? When TLC came out with right? When they came out with Scrubs, and that became the ladies' anthem, and crowd here just calling every dude they saw Scrubs. And then Sporty Thieves came out with Pigeons.
Right.
Right? They had to retaliate with Pigeons. And so that's what this reminds me of.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, that's what, when I saw these lists and I saw them going back and forth, that's what came to mind for me. What let's get some perspective on this, Jay. What's your take?
Well, there was a lot of stuff on the first. I'm gonna take it one by one. There was a lot of stuff on the first list that I didn't know was on there. I didn't see it initially, right? So now I look at it like it has to be a troll job, right? Because if you're saying for a first date you don't want to go to a nightclub, hookah bar, sports event, family function, ice cream, church, like, then we're really, kind of just talking about you're really just looking for somebody to finance, an expensive meal, right? Yeah. So I didn't see all of those things on there. So now I kind of just think it's a troll job, to be very honest with you. But the theme that we're starting to get is it comes down to not all women, of course, but the ones that, or people that were involved with this list, really just want you to pay for their time, right? And then once you pay for their time, then they can kind of make a decision about whether you get more time with them, I guess, which you have to pay for as well, right? Honestly, I look at it as a good thing, because I can name 5 places on here right now: family function, bowling, nightclub, hookah, sports event, or ice cream. If I offered to take somebody out, right, and they said, nah, let's go to Nobu, or nah, take me to STK, I would actually appreciate that as a red flag, because, it would be the easiest way to get somebody out of my life, right? Honestly, I think a lot of these, the people, this certain group of people that put together this list, obviously they're misled, because again, I'm gonna be very honest, it kind of takes most young men, right, out of the picture completely, right? They're not allowed to date, because if you're between the ages of 17 and 30, right, most men, and I'm just pulling this number out of wherever that I see, are not really hitting that earning potential where they can really, because listen, we're talking about Nobu, STK, taking care of, you're talking about a provider type of guy, right? Not somebody that's even making an average salary. You're talking about somebody that's making above average salary, probably 6 figures or up, okay? And they're a provider, right? So you're taking a lot of guys, especially younger guys and some older guys, out off the table, right? Because there's some people they're gonna be a responsible man, right? And they're gonna pay their bills. They're gonna pay their car insurance, save their money. Spending $250 to $300 on a meal is not necessarily, in the cards, right? Some people may be able to afford to do that once a month, right? If that, and I'm telling you that from a person that enjoys those places, right? But I also know that there was a time when I was in school, when I had one job, that and I didn't necessarily have a professional license where I couldn't afford those things. And I know that there's a large percentage of people, who are kind of in those circumstances. So I just think it's unrealistic, because how are these people that are between 17 and 30, like, how are they supposed to pay these bills, right? And on the other side, what makes the person that's demanding that, what makes them deserving of a $300 meal? Like, what is so special about them? That has to come into play, right? Because if you can make a demand from somebody who's just trying to get to know you for a $250, $300, $400 meal, once you're including drinks, I think that the question deserves to be asked, like, what are they getting? But what did you think?
For me, all of these places had like a common theme. And that was, these are places where women wouldn't be able to kind of get like their IG shot off, right? Because
That's a good point.
like, they want to go to places, if women are abiding by this list, this just means are these places where your IG may not be popping. If you over there at bowling, or if you at the Waffle House on a date, like you're not gonna be posting your meal from Waffle House, right? Like, you're not gonna be posting like you just hit like your gutter ball off the bowling alley thing. Like, that's what I looked at this. So this is more of a lifestyle type of, I can't really flaunt or kind of post on IG on social media, right? I'm not gonna be able to kind of get the reaction that I want. So none of these places are gonna fit that criteria. No, you gotta take me to the, to Ruth's Chris, or you got to take me to the spot, like, where it's $300-$400 a meal, where people, I can post me walking up, you can post my meal.
That's a good point.
Like the ambiance, right? That's what I'm looking for. So that's what came up for me for this, because like you mentioned, and even you talked about it a little bit in the previous episode, like, this is a lifestyle type of situation.
Right.
Coffee, ice cream, something where I'm just trying to get to know you, because that's what a first date is. The point of a first date is information gathering. I'm trying to understand, kind of get to know you more. You're getting to know me. We kind of exchanging information. And then that's kind of, all right, well, you know what? Like, you come to a conclusion kind of at the end, like, all right, well, something might be here, something might not be here, whether I'm going to go forward with this. So that's the whole point of
the
first date. I like, a lot of these things on here are unreasonable. Like bowling, we can't go bowling. Bowling to me is the best first dates. Like, we sitting here, we joking, we playing a game, like it serves all purposes of a first date, because you're still able to interact, right? You're talking about even coffee, just regular normal things. Yeah. That's
now,
what, I'm like,
I got a question to pose to you, like a hypothetical.
Yeah.
So let's say that we played a game where we're in a world where all men can afford this, right? Or let's say we're just in a community, or we're a community of professionals where it's expected, right? We all earn 200 grand at least a year, and we can afford these meals, right? And the onus is on the male to pay. That's understood, right? What about so I accept that as man, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
I meet Mrs. Brown. I like Miss Brown. I think I like her. I'm gonna take her out. She says, "Well, listen, this is the standard. I want to go to Nobu. I want to go to STK. I want to go to Catch. This is where I want to go." We go, right? Halfway through the meal or towards the end of the meal, I realize, not that she's rude, this and that, but it's just not a great relationship that I want to pursue after tonight, right? The bill comes, so now I say, you're a nice person, but I don't want to pursue this relationship, so we're gonna go half now, because I ain't gonna see you ever again.
Right.
Who's wrong? Am I wrong in that situation?
No, I don't think so.
But some people would interpret that as foul, right? But when you create those type of conditions, right, I think that's the most appropriate way to approach it, right? If I am expected to pay for your time, and on top of that, you're telling me that there's a cutoff with how much money I gotta pay for your time, right? Because I could very easily take a walk in the park, take you to get some coffee. Maybe the chemistry isn't there. I pay. We go our separate ways. Now, if I'm in for $400, right, and I decide halfway through, like, this is not the person for me, then that $400 might turn into $200, right?
You're not
Is that foul or pull me back? Because to me, if I were to accept that, you know, that is the case, right? I got to pay $400 bills to meet somebody, right? Then I'm putting a caveat in there that if I meet the person and it ain't who I expect or what I expect, we going Dutch. What do you think?
Now, I mean, you're not wrong for that. I wouldn't do that, right? Just
so you would just take it as a $400 mistake.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? If I'm asked about, I'm prepared to pay whatever.
I get that.
What this is, though, right? Let's call this what this is. This is somebody saying this is the price of admission, right? This is what it's going to take for you to even have a conversation with me for whatever period of time. Now,
right.
For me, I may not feel like I'm willing to pay that price of admission. So I'm gonna tell you straight off the bat, like, oh, like, hey, I'm thinking about us going someplace here, and if you're like, oh no, you know what? Yeah, I Cheesecake Factory or whatever the restaurant, you know, I'm thinking of, and you're like, no, I'm like, all right, well, cool. Like, I may bounce an idea, like, what would you like? And if you're talking about one of those, like, I don't know you, like, if you're talking about, you know, Budokan or one of these other places, and you're like, oh, I want to go, and I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm not at that point where I want to pay that for you, then we're not gonna go. That's just
like I want to go to Mr. Chow.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, that's all well and good, but I'm not prepared for Mr. Chow right now. And I don't feel like
But see, and that's what I'm saying. You may think I'm being foul, but I feel like I'm being reasonable. I'm meeting them in the middle. I'm saying if I were to accept that responsibility, I'm reserving the right to pull out of the commitment, right? Not meaning I'm not sticking you with the bill, but if I decide halfway through that this isn't for me, then we go in Dutch, if that's the situation. Now, if we're in a traditional situation where I try my best to pick something that you would like, right? It's all my responsibility, right? But if, like you said, if the price of admission is catch, no boo, whatever, then and I am charged with paying that bill, right? Then I think at any time we can have drinks, and I'll be like, all right, that's it. Appetizers. If after that I decide this isn't the person for me, should I have to go through the rest of the meal and eat it and then pay for it? Hell no, bro. I'm not, because at this point, think about it. And I know we're talking about people, right? But at some point it gets lost because we're really not. We're talking about paying for time, right? So if I pay somebody for some time, right, to come either as company or in another instance, right? And halfway through the time I paid them for, I feel like the experience isn't worth it, right? Whether it be a massage, cleaning service, cooking, whatever it is, I can terminate that service and pay for the portion that I'm responsible for. And I'm saying it may sound foul. To some people, it may sound cheap, right? But if those are the terms that we have to accept, then I can do it any way I want. If we're being honest, because at the end of the day, I'm paying for time. And if I don't want any more time, why should I have to keep paying for it?
Yeah, so it's like, all right, well, I don't feel like the money that I'm putting in for your time isn't worth that quality that I'm receiving back. So I'm just gonna.
But bro, this is the problem when we start wading into these waters of there is a price of admission to talk to me, right? So like that's the problem.
And so that my question is this: if I suggest like, oh yeah, let's go get some coffee, right? Or how about we go bowling real quick, or some ice cream, whatever the case is, right? Something real simple. And she's like, no, and I want to go here. My follow-up question is like, well, why is that not okay for you? Because I'm interested. I want to hear the explanation, right? That's what I want to get into before we even go to this place. I'm suggesting this. and you're saying no, and I want to know why do you feel like your price is that high? Like what, like again, what are you offering, right? Like what makes you so special? Like clearly I'm intrigued and I want to get more, I want to get to know you more. But if this is the price of admission,
Yo, and I agree with you. And that's why before I even floated the hypothetical, I said it for my own self, it would be the best thing that would ever happen, right? Because you would just save me a whole lot of money and time. Because I don't want to be involved with a person like that. Like and I'm gonna be very honest, like I need somebody, right, who could sit with me in a storm, right? When things ain't up, when I'm down. That's the person I'm looking for, the diamond in the rough. So the reason why I brought up the hypothetical was because it sounds absurd. You understand? But people have to understand, right, that when you make this claim, right, that is what you are bringing into the room, the absurd, right? Because when you say the price of admission for my time is $200, $300, $400, right, then I can decide, at some point the price is too high,
well,
right?
listen. Well, look, here's the one with me. If I'm paying that much money, I expect to be entertained. Like I expect to hear some jokes, right? If I'm paying for this $200, $300 bill, and that's your price of admission, I expect to get some type of entertainment out of there. Like I expect you to wine and dine me at that point. You see what I mean?
I get it.
I wanted some jokes. I want to. I want the whole nine, bro, because I'm paying $300-$400. Like what comes along with this? What amenities do you come up with in regards to this that comes along with the meal? Like you're eating a good meal, you're getting your IG off and so on and so forth. What am I getting out of this? I want some jokes, I want some form of entertainment, right? That's all I'm saying. Now, if we're going to talk about the list of things that men refuse to pay for if we're not married, for me, some of these things you shouldn't be paying for, period. Like I'm gonna keep it 100. Like we're talking rent, house, car, bills, furniture to go and get the other person's house, plastic surgery. Like that, it's just ridiculous to me. Some of these
But bro, I think some of it comes with how we're socialized. Like, yo, I can remember taking, like, we had a half day, middle school or something. I would take a girl to get some ice cream after school, right? And I could pay for it, right? But whether at that point I was probably in like 6th grade, right? But even if we go up to like 17, 18, I didn't necessarily have a job, right? I had like a little part-time job at the mall, whatever. But in my mind, I thought it was my responsibility when I went out to pay for everything, right? But yo, I wouldn't tell my son that. Now, trust me, there will be times where if my son's going on a date, I'll give him a couple $100, give him $100, take care of it. You understand? But I would never tell a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old male that it is their responsibility to essentially take care of a woman. It's not. It's their responsibility to be polite. It's their responsibility to be respectful, right? It's their responsibility to treat that person like they're a queen, right? But it is not their responsibility to take care at 17, 18, 19 years old. You're almost a child yourself. It's not that we put that responsibility at the feet of men for no, and in my opinion, that's a big burden, right? And again, that's how I thought all through my 20s, man. But I'm gonna be very honest. The only people I knew that could keep up with those things, right? The bags, the clothes, right? The club, the meals was my people that were hustling. That was it. My people that were either involved in street activity, right, or actively in the streets getting that type of money. I didn't know anybody that worked at Applebee's, worked for the survey place at the mall like me, worked as a camp counselor that had that type of bread. So, but it's an unrealistic expectation, that we put on men. You know what I mean? And again, I think that it's something that we need to undo when it comes to our boys and also our girls, right? Because that shouldn't be the expectation. It's a ridiculous expectation, bro.
Again, it's gone from information gathering, having some fun, getting to know each other, to lifestyle. Like take me to a place based off this list. Take me to a place where I can get, you know what I mean, my social media off. And yeah, no, that's for me. Yeah, I want no parts of that. So I'm not buying into that. Now, Jay, really quick question before we switch off, right?
Yeah.
For you, right? Back in the day or whenever, like when you took a lady you were trying to get to know, like on like bowling, right? For like the first date, second date, whatever the case is. When y'all went bowling, were you playing to win, or were you just kind of just playing around? Like were you, you know, like when you as far as
I wasn't, listen, I wasn't losing on purpose, but my main goal was interacting with the person I was with. So, you know, I'm not, I'm not gonna try to like beat them by 50 points. Like it would be the same way. Like, listen, I've been on all kinds of dates, all different types of different places. I've been to arcades like Barcode,
yeah.
right? I've been like places that you wouldn't usually go just for a change of scenery, like the shooting range, right? I've been on places that cost no money, like going on a hike, right? Or walk or something like that, right? These are some of the things I'm gonna be very honest, like I like to do myself. Right. So if I invite somebody somewhere like that, it's not because I'm trying to be cheap, it's because I'm trying to share what I like to do with you. I would never go to STK by myself.
Listen,
Right. The only time I would even think about that would be like, okay, there's somebody that I'm interested with. I want them to have a special night. You know what I mean? So this is what we're gonna do.
well, you and
You
I,
know, but besides occasions like that, you know, I'm doing regular stuff. And that's why you see Russell Wilson, right, who's probably richer than the majority of the people making these lists, and Ciara, who's probably richer than the majority of people making these lists. And where are they? Waffle House, right?
listen, you and I differ on that because when I've taken people out on bowling, I am trying to win. I'm trying to destroy you. Like, listen, I'm going hard, okay? Like, and I'm the guy too, right? I'm the guy that's like, yo, listen, your turn is up. Like, yo, don't go to the bathroom or go to the bar and you hold up the tile. Like, listen, we trying to go. And listen, you go ahead and run, throw your 2 gutter balls. I'm trying to make the wall. You see what I
Yeah,
mean?
you one of those. You one of those.
One of them. We gonna still have fun though. I'm gonna joke around. But I'm trying to annihilate you.
Yeah, you ain't getting a second date anyway. So
Cool. Listen, look. If I pull a 250 and you bowled your 59 and you're not happy about that, then that's a red flag for me. All right, that's what it is.
But I just think, man, like fundamentally, like I know that this list doesn't speak for the majority of women. Like I know that because just my experience alone, you know, it's I don't want to speak for women, but some of the women that I know, they want a man to be self-sufficient, right? They want you to be able to, like we said, plan a date and of course, you know, take care of it. But it's all within reason, right? And if we're being very honest, you know, with women I date, like, yeah, I pay. I always pay. I'm gonna be very honest. I always pay. But that's something that I usually have to discuss with people I'm dating because you know, it comes to a point where they're like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna pay for this one, right? And I'll let them know, you know, it's my pleasure in this instance. Right? It's my pleasure in this instance, right? That's why I'm taking you out because it's my pleasure. But with those particular relationships, you know the type of person you're dealing with, right? You're dealing with a person that you go out and when the bill comes, they pulling their credit card out. Like, let me get this one. And you're like, nah, I got it, right? But you know what kind of person you're dealing with, right? That's not a person whose time you're paying with. So I think it's perfectly okay and fine for, you know, a woman to want a self-sufficient man. You understand? But that's different than just saying if you're a male and you approach me and you want to talk to me, I'm not talking to you on the phone. I'm not going to the gym with you. I'm not getting coffee. $400 for the date. That's a little crazy.
It's unreasonable, bro.
Yeah, man.
All right, now switching gears to parenting and also unreasonable children. All right, Jake, check this out.
Should parents be penalized for eating out with loud, unruly kids?
The owner of a think so. The steakhouse is going viral for its $50 adult surcharge. The fee will be tacked on to the tab for families with children who are extra noisy and rowdy. Apparently, the punishment for parents who can't parent is listed on the menu. But one mother said she thought it was a joke. The owner said he never had to enforce the fine until 4 families showed up with 11 kids under the age of 8 who were allowed to run all over the restaurant.
Yeah, it's always tough.
Don't you hate
It's
that?
tough when that happens. But I don't know. How do you charge?
All right, there you go. So similar to our conversation a couple weeks ago in regards to the vomit fee,
Right.
these restaurants, man, they're putting in a lot of boundaries and rules and restrictions. All right, so let's put some perspective on this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
I am. I'm okay with this. Speaking as a parent, like, listen, and I'm not putting it solely on like generally saying the individual can't parent. Because I'm not gonna just generalize and say that because there's a lot of different factors that go into it, right? It could be a situation where kid is not feeling well, situation kid might be teasing, whatever, like it could be a lot of different things that are contributing to this child not behaving in the best manner. At the same time, right, outside of some of those circumstances, when you have a situation where the kid is just running all over the restaurant, right, turning around, looking at you, kicking the seat, yelling and screaming, and you don't have a parent that's doing anything. See, that's where the issue comes for me, right? Just as a parent, like you have to take control of that situation. You have to intervene. You have to do some type of action, right? You have to react to that. And if you're unable to get control of the situation due to whatever reason, maybe the kids outnumber you. We've been in a situation where it's like one parent, you got like 3 or 4 kids. If the kids are getting the best of you, then you know what? Hey, you know what? It's time to pack it up.
Right.
Time to pack it up. It's time to go because you do have to take in consideration other people that are also trying to enjoy their meal, right? Everybody's there to try to relax, eat food, enjoy, get away from whatever situation, enjoy some food that they're paying for. But if you're all over the place or the kids are all over the place and you're not really kind of able to control the situation, yeah, and you're kind of allowing it to go on, kind of speaking further into it, I'm okay with you getting an additional fee. I'm all right with that.
First, I want to talk about like who I'm not talking about. Who I'm not talking about is anybody has seen a parent, especially sometimes you see a single parent, male or female, with a couple of kids.
Right.
And the kids are active, they might be a little rambunctious, and the parent is a little overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. That's completely inappropriate, for somebody to get a gratuity because they're overwhelmed, right? What I'm talking about is passive parenting, right? I'm talking about the people who you are in a conversation with them, right? And their kid is tearing up they stuff, your stuff, everybody else, and they are oblivious or they ignore it, right? To the point where you have to redirect the kid or somebody else, that's a parenting style, right? And we know, we could kind of get into, the traits that children end up developing when they grow up in that environment with that type of parenting style. And people deserve to make individual choices, right? But when you have that type of passive parenting style, and now your children are invading other people's boundaries, right? The same way another parent has a right to redirect them when you won't, the restaurant has a right to sanction you. So I agree, right? And again, I'm not talking about somebody with active children who's overwhelmed and they're trying to redirect the children and they might be sick or having a bad day. I'm talking about passive parenting. Somebody who's sitting there eating their meal, right? Talking to their partner while their kids are tearing up the place and disturbing your meal or your function or your picnic with your kids, right? I've seen this in a bunch of different situations. And usually what happens is another parent, a stranger, a staff member has to redirect the child, right? And when we talk about passive parents, usually they don't even care, right? So I think people who have that parenting style, again, I wouldn't have any problem with that. I think they should of course get a warning first. You know, and how you present it to the person is important. I think those policies should be made clear up front, right? They should be on the door of the restaurant, right? Or wherever, something clear where everybody understands, and the person should get a warning. Like, listen, you know, we understand things can happen, but you know, you got to be responsible for the environment around you, right? And the children have to respect the boundaries, and if they don't, then you address it with the parents.
What we're talking about or referring to are individuals with that very permissive or neglect parenting style, right?
Right.
Where you are on the, we've seen situations where these individuals are on their phone, kid is running up and down, cutting in between the tables, tripping the waitress or the hostess and things of that nature. Absolutely. Like, no, you need to be held responsible for your kid. That's your job as a parent. And again, I remember that. Like, I remember my kid being very young, and I'm fortunate that, you know, my daughter had a very kind of chill temperament, and she followed kind of orders. You know, you give them the conversation before you go, right? Like, look, we're not going to be doing this, blah 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 blah, such and such, right? So if they don't adhere to that, once they get in there, getting beside themselves, again, that's the time where it's like, okay, it's time to pack it up. Or it's also understanding that your kid or kids or whatever the case may be, if they are having a bad day or whatever development that they're at, they may not be ready for restaurant life, right? On the age, sometimes they're just not old enough or developed enough in regards where they can kind of adhere, sit still for a long period of time, eat whatever the case is. And I get it. As a parent, you want to get out, you want to, you know, be outside, you want to go to a restaurant, you want to enjoy things, but you have to understand maybe for that particular time, you're not able to just because of your kid or kids and just where they're at. So as opposed to putting yourself in a situation where things kind of get out of hand and or just ignoring it altogether, right? Because we've seen situations where person on their phone or they're having a conversation with a partner yelling at them, right? Like, that's not parenting, right? That's just not a situation where you're just yelling at the kid and telling them to get back here and they're still running around hitting people, hitting other tables and things of that nature. Like, no, you have to be held responsible for that. And like, for me, honestly, like, that used to really like irritate me because as a young parent, you were already hit with that label. Like, walking into some place, like, they automatically assume that that you didn't have control of your kid. Like, I'm walking and I'm early 20s and stuff. My kid is, you know, 3, 4, 5 years old, and they automatically would think just because, again, young black male with a kid walking in there, like, not gonna have control. Because there would be times, Jay, where I'd be sitting there and then like halfway through the meal or towards the end of the meal, like the hostess or whoever would like walk up to us and say, "Oh my gosh, your kid is so well behaved. Oh my gosh," like, you know. And I used to think it was the oddest thing. Like, well, how is she supposed to be? Like, she's a kid. Like, I'm not. But I would see, and I started to understand the more I would go out, and I would see more kids just tearing up the place, and like, bad, like, for like the staff, because again, you got to be careful even trying to redirect the kid, because then that could lead to a situation with the parent, because now they want to become a parent, right? Don't tell my kid what to do such and such. Now you want to get defensive. Well, guess what? Like, either if situations get out of control, pack it up, right? There are plenty of options where you don't have to go out to eat, right? You have options. You got Uber Eats, you got all these different delivery services and things of that nature. But when it comes down to, and you're just, again, the people that are just allowing their kids to just run amok, yeah, you have to be sanctioned. You are going to be held responsible financially for the disruption that your kids are causing, and more for your lack of parenting. I'm not going to call you a bad parent, but I am going to label it as like your lack of parenting in that particular situation. So I'm all with that, man. More restaurants need to enforce this particular policy. I'm with it.
Yeah, I'm with it too, man.
You know,
We'll see how far that goes. Somebody probably gonna sue him pretty soon.
I like this assertiveness with restaurants. All right. Jay, anything else before we get out of here?
Nothing much. Again, I just want to thank people for hanging with us. Appreciate all the good feedback about the new segments. So we appreciate that. Please feel free to comment on the topic. You know, I know a lot of people disagree with me all the time. So, you know, please feel free. We love the agreement and the disagreement. So But the bottom line is we appreciate the support. We're thankful for everybody that listens every week. So that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Loving the engagement, loving the conversation. Continue to tune in, tell a friend, subscribe, share, all these other good things. And we're going to continue to pump out this content. All right. Jay, until next time, brother, I bid you adieu. And everyone else, I wish everybody good mental health.
All right, bro.